It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. It is great to be back.
It's awesome to be back.
I mean, just the audio cuts alone.
Yeah.
You know, during the week that we're off, we bank all these audio cuts.
Right.
And then when we come in, it's like, oh, my gosh, there's just too many. But I got to make sure we play this one. You ready for this?
All right.
Just the meltdown that the left is having of Trump at McDonald's. All right?
Right.
This is NBC's analysis. I don't know who these people are because in this audio cut, all they show is Trump, the pictures of Trump at McDonald's. Okay?
All right.
Yesterday. All right, here we go.
Okay.
I mean, if you're on his campaign, and I know you are certainly not, I'm not making any implication of that, but what is the logic behind this, going to a McDonald's? I mean, we know the guy likes Big Macs and filet of fish, and he's used the word love to describe the way he feels about the food there before. But what's this about?
There's no logic to it. It's a stunt. He has not put forth an economic agenda. He, as you know, appears to be not well, and he's engaged in some really bizarre types of activities during this campaign. So this is just another one of those stunts that he will continue on through the campaign. And I think that we need to really focus on making sure that he is not elected, of course, because.
There you go.
Well, I would have stopped there and said, "Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I was asking you about Donald Trump, not Tim Walz."
Yeah, but we all know why he was there. If you're asking if that person was a political analyst, and I couldn't tell because I didn't go to the actual studio and show the person talking.
Right.
It's all Trump in there, so I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
But we know exactly why he went.
Yeah.
He went to emphasize that the whole middle class, the whole McDonald's, I worked for a living middle class, that it's a lie.
Right.
That she's telling a lie.
Right.
And since she never came back and said, no, here's where I worked and did this, they knew they had her in a lie.
Right.
And that's why they did it. In a campaign, you're looking to show that the other person is lying. The fact that MSNBC and the analyst doesn't know that, even if they disagree with it, the fact that they don't know what the purpose is shows they really don't have many political analyst credentials, do they?
No, they don't.
Now, that's not all, because then there's this is just great. There's a website that mostly is promoted on X called the Palmer Report.
Mm-hmm.
Wikipedia calls it a fake, not a parody, just a fake liberal far-left website. Mm-hmm. It's basically we just tell lies about about the right. To give you an example, here's some of the things that have been out in the last 6 hours from the Palmer Report. Kamala Harris is leading this election. Donald Trump is falling to pieces. We're right where we want to be, but there are 2 weeks remaining in this election, and we have to be prepared for any curveballs that Trump, the Republicans, or the media are about to throw at us. Then, here's another one. Anyone who votes for Trump is entering into a criminal conspiracy with a convicted felon who's awaiting sentencing and is therefore equally guilty of all of his crimes and should share a cell with him. You get to see what this website's about.
Right.
Trump is doing an event tonight, but he called the host by the wrong name, and then he said, frack, 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 like a duck. His every public appearance is more senile than the last. And as you can see, they've run out of ideas, so it's like Trump is exhausted and he's senile.
Yeah.
That's what they're attempting to do. Well, then let me get back to what I was looking at here. This was on X. It shows a picture of Trump, looking out the drive-through window. It says, the real proof of Donald Trump's dementia is that he let his handlers do this to him today without pushing back about what a humiliating idea it was. And I think, was it Tammy Bruce who posted? Yeah, here it is. This is great because this gets back to what we were talking about before. Mm-hmm. Leftists and the Democrats, but I repeat myself, think Trump working at McDonald's is humiliating. They think this because they have absolute contempt for the average American. This is why they are losing now and will continue to lose. The politics of business as usual are over. But I thought that was really interesting because you and I didn't view it as we thought it was hilarious at times because it was funny. He can be an entertainer.
Yeah.
And he was an entertainer.
Right.
And it was funny. It was touching. And you knew at the same time, the point he was trying to make, she's lying.
Right.
She didn't grow up in this life, and that's all. That's all it was. It was a shot where you've got 2 weeks out, and you believe that you're winning based on the polling that you see, and they're pretty confident. So it's like, okay, let's make these last messages, but let's make them fun.
Right.
At the same time, I understand exactly. And look, if I didn't think it was proper what he was doing, and I know you would the same way. If I didn't think he was campaigning right, we'd tell you in a second.
If it was awkward, if it was off point, if it was in any way it didn't fit, then it would be, come on, focus. You're in the home stretch. Time to focus. I thought it worked on many levels, including a future career at McDonald's if he wants it. Because he looked like, he just walked right in, and he looked like he would be a manager at McDonald's. The difference, the point being not that, hey, man, he's good at anything. The point is he didn't look awkward. And in those moments, that's kind of hard to pull off.
It wasn't, what this wasn't, was Dukakis in the tank.
I was about to say, I swear to you, I was about to say Dukakis in a helmet.
Yeah.
Just Google that, kids.
Or,
for the young people, just Google it.
No. Or,
the helmet was so horrible.
We don't have to go back that far.
Huh.
Wall's pheasant hunting.
Oh, my gosh. Oh. That was bad. That was really bad. That was really bad. And why didn't they go hunting wabbits? That would have been so much more entertaining to Eric, and maybe just Eric. They missed an opportunity there. But again, awkward. What you don't see in that moment, in those moments in the McDonald's, you don't see that awkward trying to fake enthusiasm. It looks like what I'm actually thinking is Trump's thinking in the back of his mind, I need to buy a couple of franchises. You know what I mean? Because it was like, yeah, I'm touring the place. How much do you want? And that's it. Again, it didn't come off as awkward. There are so many awkward moments, John Kerry, back in the day.
Yeah, he did the camouflage too.
That's the contrast. If it looked awkward, if it came off as awkward, it would have been, come on. It doesn't look real. But see, this is the point about Trump not flinching and Trump being Trump. Because in any setting, it's going to be the same demeanor. He's not trying to pose as something he's not. Because that's where really the awkward stuff comes in. When you're trying to pretend you're something you're not. He didn't really come in pretending he was going to be a McDonald's manager or a McDonald's employee. He just wanted to come in, see how it works. Hey, give me a quick training, a rundown. Let me see if I can actually do this. Going through it, to me, exploring the experience there, but demonstrating also a point against Kamala's baseless claim that she worked at McDonald's.
That was the political point.
And all of these things work on every level because they're not awkward. If it had been an awkward moment, it wouldn't have been something I would have advised. But he doesn't flinch. That's the thing. That's what makes it awkward is when you flinch, when you hesitate, when you look nervous, when you look out of place, when you try and be something you're not. But he'll just be himself in whatever environment he's in, And so that he comes off as much less awkward than, I mean, politically it doesn't look, for us that go to a McDonald's, of course it looks out of place because it's Donald Trump at a McDonald's. But he didn't look like he was nervous about it or that it was, something, outside of his wheelhouse, really. He looked like himself.
Well, I'll say this. When, was it both Harris and Walz with the shovels?
Yeah.
And they looked like they never picked up a tool in their life.
It was, yeah.
I mean, that was the thing.
Well, Walz under the hood of a car, I mean, it's, and then they walk into a store to buy Doritos. That was weird.
Or we'll do more cringe-worthy moments. Schumer grilling.
Oh, my
Remember the Schumer grill?
With the raw meat that already had cheese on it. Seriously. Wow. I mean, it was so horrible. How do you not know how to do these things? Well, I'll tell you what, because Trump in those situations is more curious than anything, right?
Yeah.
Hey, how do I cook the fries? Hey, all right, show me how to ring an order up.
You know what he reminded of when they gave him the basket of fries? And I know this from working at the donut shop the first time they said, okay, you need to train to be a baker.
Right.
You're worried like crazy about the damn grease.
Get it? Yeah. Well, get it.
That's what you're worried about.
You want to get it. You want to get it right, but you certainly don't want to get it that wrong.
And I saw him pulling it out, like shaking a little bit, and everything else. Okay, I bring this over here. Yeah, go ahead. You could tell he was a novice. He wasn't like he'd worked there the whole time.
Right.
But it was like it was genuine. What was the other one I was thinking of? That was just so. Look, we've become experts in cringeworthy because of Biden, Harris, and Walz. We really have, and and John Kerry when he ran at times. There's just certain moments. But I'll tell you this, when even though it really, when Clinton walked into McDonald's on SNL.
Oh, my gosh. That was so great. Phil Hartman greatness.
It was just great.
How you going to eat those? That was great.
Well, there are
while he's jogging, he's taking a break from jogging.
But there are just some things, even slogans, for example. Mm-hmm. You and I mean, even Republicans made fun of John McCain. Fight with me, fight with me. There was no passion to it.
It was contrived. Yeah. It didn't sound like conviction from him.
Right. And so there are bad moments that politicians have. That was not a bad moment for Trump at all.
Right. Yeah. He just didn't look awkward. And those every single thing, every move Kamala Harris has made, it seemed awkward. When she sat down on The View, look, I pull into the oil change place, right? They got my truck in the bay, and I walk into the lobby, the waiting room, and The View was coming on live. And I'm going, oh, well, I guess this is an opportunity. There's other guys there in the lobby, and I'm the only one standing close to the TV for a minute, because I wanted to hear. But she was awkward in the interview. You could tell there were things that she was really nervous. She's not comfortable in any of these moments. And that comes from not having the confidence to be what she's trying to get elected to do, and that's to be president. She doesn't have the confidence it takes. She doesn't have confidence in herself. That's why she can't do the interviews. That's why every moment is awkward.
When you put yourself in a situation, I say she put herself in the situation. People say, well, her aides. Mm-hmm. No, it's her campaign. She controls it.
Yep.
When you put yourself in a position where you start out by saying all the major positions that you hold that are the reasons that people want to vote for the opposition candidate to you, that you have held 180-degree different opinions over your entire political life, mm-hmm. and then you switch all those opinions to agree with your opponent and say you're different. This is what differentiates you from the current administration that you're a part of, while at the same time saying you're not different from the administration. You've put yourself If I had to do it, I couldn't pull that off.
Right.
Because every day I'd be saying, how can I BS these people?
Right.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
She can tell you. I don't know how you run a campaign. I don't know how you can do it, especially now, when the opinions you take, you don't actually believe. And then you've got to start backtracking, as she did this weekend, the campaign. Well, she just said she's not going to ban fracking. She didn't say she's going to expand oil and natural gas
Right.
production.
Right.
The hell does that even mean?
Yeah, you're scrambling.
Yeah. I'd be nervous, too.
If you're always scrambling, yep.
Yeah. 866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
It's been 5 years since USDA's Risk Management Agency first offered the crop insurance product known as Hurricane Insurance Protection Wind Index. RMA Administrator Marcia Munger says in the case of Hurricane Helene,
with HIPWE, we have had several states trigger in many, many counties across the Southeast.
with indemnities of over $233 billion to be paid to those suffering hurricane-related losses in 6 states affected by Helene. In addition, the storm's severity has led RMA to work with approved insurance providers
In coming up with what's called emergency loss procedures so that we can simplify, reduce the stress, hopefully, on producers by giving them additional time to report any losses and for companies to bring in outside help in those areas that have heavy losses.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Look, in my mind, the appearance yesterday, I mean, I look at it, and we said this maybe, middle of September, that, okay, we're basically over. Yeah. That we're basically where we're going to be.
Right.
There's not much new, and we said, Harris, if she doesn't do any interviews, she's done a few, that's going to be a problem. Nobody knows where she stands, and she flip-flopped again over the weekend on fossil fuels back to the left side that, basically, we're not going to expand fossil fuels. We're just not going to ban fracking.
Right.
Well, what do you mean? That doesn't make any sense. So you've actually become more confusing. Trump, everybody knows where he stands. So I thought going to McDonald's was a nothing burger.
Yeah.
Really, I just, okay, he'll be able to make his point. But the left actually has made it a bigger point by going insane about it.
That's it. They drew more attention to it because the problem with it is when you say, "Oh, it's bad," or they faked it, or any of this, you're asking people to fact check it themselves. They want to. It's one of those things that people actually would be curious about. Oh, wait, Trump working at a McDonald's? I got to see this.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're looking at it going, "There's nothing weird about this." Of course, they closed it down. 2 recent attempted assassinations.
Yeah.
That's only one reason why you would close it down.
And the political point is we believe she's lying about working at McDonald's.
Right.
Why does she have to lie about that?
Yeah.
And that's something that in politics, if you can figure out a lie that she continued, to promote over and over again, and you believe it's a lie, you go after it.
Right.
It's that simple. This is basic politics. There's nothing weird. There's nothing unusual.
It's photo op.
Well, it might be a little bit unusual. Means this is something that isn't done all the time. But
right. But it's basically a photo op kind of situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Links to everything Red Eye on the website, redeyeradioshow.com.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. One more example of the left mind trying. Literally.
Yeah.
David Frum, who we've talked about before, used to be more Republican. He's Canadian anyway, so. But he's, never Trumper big time.
Mm-hmm.
And he posted a picture on X yesterday, because of the Trump at McDonald's, the Pennsylvania McDonald's. Candidates for the presidency frying food. It's not a new move. And it shows Reagan with the beer in his hand, grilling food. Not frying, but grilling.
Yeah.
Molly Hemingway posts, David Frum pushed the Russia collusion hoax, and the Hunter Biden laptop is Russia disinformation info op. Here, as part of his anti-Trump derangement, he claims grilling is frying.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Just unbelievable. I mean, just
the
lunacy of the left right now is, wow.
And that's the bigger effect of the whole McDonald's thing. On the Trump side, it's like, all right, it worked. No big deal. But their reaction to it says more about, confirms more about what we know already about the activist leftist media and how they respond to everything. Because we always talk about, the attention that you give to anything. Well, it wasn't really something that deserved more than a couple of minutes, right? It was like, oh, okay, photo op at McDonald's, makes the point about Kamala claiming she worked at McDonald's. And,
yeah, it was
you move on.
It was a campaign troll.
Yeah.
But
just a moment.
Why are they furious? It was an effective campaign troll.
Well,
they believe it was.
Right. Because otherwise, you would have heard from them, oh, what? So what? Photo op at McDonald's. Nobody cares. And then they move on. Or they don't mention it at all, and it gets no attention. But them going bat soup crazy over it. Can you order bat soup at McDonald's? I don't think you can. I don't think you can. Can I get a number 2 with a side of bat soup? And bringing all of that attention to it shows you where they are right now. They're losing it over a photo op moment because things are working more in his favor on every level. I'm looking at the polls, and you've been looking at the polls. I was doing some. It was about midweek, I think Wednesday last week. Looking at the polls, doing some numbers crunching, but watching things as they started turning. And I think it was Tuesday when things started dropping on the polls last week that just started showing, again, more and more of a turn in Trump's direction. We look at the trend, where the polls are trending, what the movement is. That's what we've always done. And in October, that's what you do. Because that's where you have fewer undecideds. That's where the undecideds are going to pick. They're starting to make that choice. As of today, you've got early voting open wide now, and people are getting out there. I'm anxious to see what the early turnout is going to be on early voting. That'll be interesting to look at. But I don't see anything changing over the next 2 weeks. As Carville said, you really have basically a week from this coming Saturday. So you actually have less than 2 weeks now. And that's all you get. Because it's all decided, everything's already priced in terms of campaigning. And they'll be out there on those days, the Saturday, Sunday, Monday. In the case of Hillary, canceling your fireworks display. Those are the tells. where they will be, what they see, as important. But I think also looking at those Senate races where you've got a handful of Democrats now that are using Trump, trying to align themselves in ways with Trump. That tells you the desperation there, too. You look at the map on RCP for the Senate races, and right now, if the remaining 5 toss-up states at RCP all go Democrat, they still lose the Senate. That's, again, if everything else remains, it's 51-49. There's a lot of variables in there. But it could be as high as, if they take the Senate, the GOP takes the Senate, it could be 53, 54 seats. Nevada.
Right now, yeah, looking at it right now. Yeah,
Nevada and Arizona don't look good for the GOP in the Senate races there. But you and I have been scratching our heads there going, well, wait a minute. If Trump takes Arizona by the lead that it looks like he has in the polls, how does Kari Lake lose? But she may. Gallego may take it. And in Nevada, it's closer, but it's trending more toward Trump. So how do they lose Nevada? If he takes Nevada, how do they lose that Senate seat? We'll see. The Senate race is closer, too, in that state. But then you look at Pennsylvania, Michigan, and we'll see. I've always, I thought Rick Scott's going to take Florida. I think he's got, like a 3-point advantage right now. I think he's going to win Florida. Looks like Tester's going to lose in Montana. So then, it's down to those battleground states in the Senate. But it looks like, I think, anywhere between 52 and 54 for the GOP if this trend continues in the polls. And that's what they're clearly worried about. That's what the Democrats are worried about. I think there's less confidence about her winning and more worry about them losing the Senate. Well, there's more concentration or focus on, look, let's do everything we can just to save as many Senate seats as we can.
You just don't know, though, because you don't know how far Trump is under polling as he has
exactly
before. And you look at 2 of the most trusted from 2020, Atlas Intel and then Trafalgar on Arizona. Gallego up 4 on Kari Lake. Mm-hmm. But the margin of error is really 3.
Right.
So it might only be 1.
Yep.
So you just don't know.
And it's a purple state, and there's just so many variables there, and I don't trust anything with the pollsters and the way it's been trending, because if you look at the RCP average, well, it's populated. That the average is made up of a number of pollsters who haven't been accurate in the past, and a few that have been. So, again, we look at the trend, but it would be so hard to believe that he carries a state very easily and wins Arizona, and Kari Lake doesn't win on the down ballot. That would be, again, we'll see.
Especially with the border being such a huge issue.
Yeah, right. And Arizona, not the first time they've been, to battle with back when Jan Brewer was governor and everything else. The border was a big issue back then. You go back to the Obama administration and them suing Arizona on their enforcement of their border policy and everything else. I mean, it's something that's been ongoing for a long, long time as a border state. It was always going to be that way. And if Trump wins by a very good margin, hard to believe Kari Lake wouldn't win that Senate seat. So it's interesting looking at those, but there has been a shift just since we've been gone.
Because the question is, how many people are willing to vote for Trump, but not Lake?
Right. Yeah.
I'll say the same thing, and I understand that the governorship is a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's more state. But you see Robinson, I saw one poll, he's down by 11 or 12 or 13. I know the scandal he's involved in, but are you telling me then that if Trump wins there and that you're going to have 11, 12% of the people that voted for Trump not vote for a Republican governor?
Right. And on the Senate race.
And that may be the case. Those are just those are questions that I have.
Yeah, right. And on the Senate race, my question would be, okay, if you're willing to vote for Trump, but you want to vote for Gallego in the Senate, so you don't care about Trump's agenda getting done.
Yeah.
Because there's no doubt in my mind Kerry Lake would be fully on board with Trump's agenda. Yeah. So why would you vote for Trump?
Did I say Georgia? I meant North Carolina. I think I said North Carolina for Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So those, again, it could be the case that Gallego wins in Arizona and Trump wins. I got to scratch my head, though, if that happens. If he wins in a big way, far outside of what we're seeing in the polls, then his down ballot is going with him. I don't see how it doesn't. Because it has to be about agenda. It has to be about what you're sending him there to do.
And so what you had the, Sunday, over the weekend, you had the tip poll, national, Trump 49, Harris 47. The Pennsylvania, Trafalgar, Trump 46, Harris 43. The Pennsylvania Senate, Casey and McCormick tied 47 each.
Mm-hmm.
National, Atlas Intel, which was, because I haven't seen a WIC poll, so Atlas Intel would be the most accurate poll of 2020, just so people know the reference of that. They have Trump on the national +3. Mm-hmm. Pennsylvania, Trump +3. Michigan, Trump +3. Wisconsin, Harris +1. Georgia, Trump +2. North Carolina, Harris +2.
Yeah.
Arizona and Nevada, Trump and Harris a tie with Atlas Intel.
Mm-hmm.
The Pennsylvania Senate from Harris Intel, McCormick +1 over Casey.
Yeah. From Atlas Intel. You said Harris Intel, but Atlas Intel.
Did I say Harris?
Mm-hmm. I don't know that Harris has any.
Well,
intel.
she's got her own polling group now too.
But when you look at the long list on the polling in Pennsylvania on the Senate race there, Casey's lost a lot of ground just in the since about the 5th of October. A lot of ground. Some before that, but really the trend has been more toward the GOP since about the 5th of October. And
yeah, because I see I've got all the polls: Casey +2, Casey +2, Casey +4, Casey +4, Casey +2, McCormick +1, and a tie. So those are the last two. And the two polls that are last in there are two of the most accurate polls from 2020.
Right. You go back to September, and Casey was +9, +7, +9 in some of those polls. But everything in October is trending more toward the GOP. So that's that movement we look for. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Going back, looking
Crazy,
at it, yeah.
Huh?
+8,
that,
well,
that drop off.
Well, yeah, but the +8 is
Quinnipiac. I know exactly where you're going. Exactly.
And they were off 8 points in the 2020 presidential.
Yeah, so it could have been a tie.
Right. All right, but that was presidential, not Senate race. Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's
clear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure much more accurate on state polls.
Surely.
866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Sunday Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I hope there's an investigation. We'll talk more about this, I'm sure, this week on the leak of U.S. intel on Israel's plan to strike Iran.
Yeah.
How the hell that ever got out, and how that ever got out to a pro-Iranian newspaper, where that leak came from intel. You're talking about the highest top secrets that we have. And now, of course, people go, well, we were spying on Israel. Well, we spy on everybody.
Yeah.
You gather information on everybody. Now, I did see one article say there were wiretaps also that was used by American intel that was just supposed to be shared, as you know, with the, what do they call it, the five countries. Oh, I forgot which ones they are. U.S., Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and Canada.
Right.
The Five Eyes. That's it. And somehow it got leaked.
Yeah. That's an activist somewhere.
Yep.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.